It's hard for me to hear when people say that they can't do something or they'll never be able to do something. Maybe I can't get that job, can't lose weight, I'll never get married because sometimes people don't feel like they're smart enough, they're pretty enough. These pains are deep, and a lot of these pains come from words from our past, things that people have said to us, either intentionally or unintentionally, but they hurt and they run deep. When you have these pains, a lot of times you feel hopeless, helpless, your self-worth diminishes, and you don't know what to do. Sometimes we go around and we question ourselves. Well, if these things I can't do or I'll never do, why was I born? Why is there pain in my life? Everyone experiences pain. It's not a good feeling. It's not something that I would say you can get over in a day. Some situations run deep and it takes you time to heal and get over. But what I will say is that there is purpose in your pain. There's purpose in your tears. There's purpose in every tear you've cried. There's purpose in your frustration. There's purpose in the things that you're going through in life right now. Now, I know you've probably heard people say, oh, there's purpose in things, get over it. It's not that easy to get over. When you're hurting, and sometimes you're the only one that understands your hurt and your pain, it's easier said than done. So I like to share my story, my pain, so that way you can definitely understand my purpose. And maybe in hearing and understanding my purpose, you'll understand yours as well. My husband and I, we have 3 beautiful children. Our eldest is a girl. Her name is Kirsten. When Kirsten was born, she was the most amazing baby. We did the thing that all parents do when you give birth. Once the baby is born, you count the little fingers and toes, and you play with the hair, and you make sure everything is good. And the doctors gave us a thumbs up on a healthy report. So we were elated. We were able to have this healthy baby girl, our first child, and take her home and start our new life together. So let's fast track about 5 to 6 months. Kirsten at this time is around 5 months old, and we wanted to go visit our friend who had a 6-month-old. So they were very close in age. She had a baby boy, we had a baby girl. So we went to go visit her, and he was perfect. But we did notice some things that he was doing different than Kirsten was. He was grasping for items. He was able to roll over by himself. He was babbling a lot more than she was. There were just a lot of significant differences. So we expressed the concerns with our friend and with each other. And she said the same thing that you hear a lot, especially with little babies. Don't worry about it. Babies develop at different stages. She's going to be fine. Well, these concerns continued to grow, and they grew to the point where I called our pediatrician and said, hey, can we bring Kirsten in a little bit earlier? I know she has her 6 months appointment coming up, but we have some concerns. So we brought her into the office, and when he examined Kirsten, he had some of the exact same concerns that we had. So we actually set up appointments, took her to a neurologist, and she had every test done that we could imagine. She had her blood drawn. She had urine tests. She had EKGs and EEGs. They had her hooked up to all these machines, running through machines. If you can think of a 5-month-old going through this, she was hysterical. She was crying out, and I know she felt helpless, and I felt helpless as her mother. So after all these tests, we were pretty much placed in a room. The room was stark, just white walls, nothing special about it. We had different doctors, professionals come into the room to give us diagnosis about our baby girl, of what they thought. Now, there were still other tests that need to be done, but based off the evaluations and the information, they told us that our baby girl had a severe developmental disability. And because of this disability, she would need assistance for the rest of her life. The outlook didn't look good for her walking, her being able to talk. Her prognosis looked very bleak. So as we sat in this room, Eddie and myself, it felt like the entire world was closing in on us. Everything stopped. Their mouths were moving, but at some point I stopped hearing the words that were coming out of their mouths. At this point, everything that I had imagined for my baby went through my head. all of the dances, the recitals she was going to be involved in, the plays, her going to school, her going to college, her going off and being a lawyer, doctor, whatever she wanted to be, and the things that I had dreamed for her seemed to vanish right before my eyes. It was a very, very painful experience. And the pain got so deep, the emotions ran so deep, because then I started to hear those, she can't do this, she'll never be able to do this. All of those things that I never thought would happen for my child started to happen, all in the blink of an eye. I went running from the room and fell in the hallway and began to cry. It was one of those inconsolable cries, one of those, I don't know what I'm going to do. I felt like my life was over. I felt like my baby's life was over. Well, my husband, being the man that he is, runs out into the hallway after me, and he wraps his arms around me, and he just holds me. And I could not stop weeping. The pain was so deep, and it was so real. And he says, it's going to be okay. And I said, but no, the dreams, everything that I had envisioned, everything for her, it's going away. And he said, no, it's not going away. She'll have different dreams. We'll create different memories for her. It's going to be okay. God will see us through this. So, during this process of hearing about the test and just accepting that now things would be different, it was not easy. So if you're going through something right now, I'm not saying it's an easy process. I'm not saying get over it overnight. I'm not saying just take away your tears and don't cry them anymore. No, cry your tears. It's okay to be in a place of sadness and to grieve. That's normal. But after you've grieved and after you start to heal, realize that there's purpose in every tear that you've cried, and every sorrow that you felt, and every pain that went through your body. There's purpose. And as Kirsten got older, she had different therapists come and go. One was a physical therapist that she had, an amazing woman. Kirsten took to her as well as we did. And one day she came to me after a therapy session, and she says, Mrs. Coleman, I have something for you to read. You don't have to do it now. Just when you get time, read it. I think that it will encourage you. She smiled and she walked away. So I said, well, it must be something important. I'll read it when I get home. So I take Kirsten home, get her together, and I decided to open up this gift that she'd given me. It's a piece of paper, and I'm thinking, okay, wow. So I open it up, and it's a poem. It's called Welcome to Holland by an author, Emily Kingsley Pearsley. So as I read the poem, this is what I got. The poem talks about a lady who has a child with special needs, and she talks about it like going on a trip. So she wanted to go on this trip. She had planned this trip to Rome for a very long time in the poem. And so the lady, she's planned this trip. She's learned the language. She's taken out guidebooks so she knows where she's going. She is ready to go to Rome. So it's the big day. She's on her way to Rome. She's set. She gets on the plane and she's excited. After hours of being on the plane, it's time for her to get off. And as she gets off the plane, the flight attendant says, "Welcome to Holland." And she says, "What? No, I have a trip and it's planned to Rome. You must be mistaken." And she says, "No, welcome to Holland. This is where you are, and in Holland you must stay." So she's confused. She doesn't know what's going on. So she gets off the plane and she starts to walk around. And the first thing she notices is, at least Holland's not a nasty place. They didn't take her somewhere filthy. So she looks around and she starts to take in the views. And she notices that Holland has tulips, and Holland is a beautiful place to be. So she goes to the store and she gets a book so she can begin to learn the language because she wants to become accustomed. Now remember, she wanted to go to Rome where she wanted to experience the Michelangelo, and she wanted to go on gondola rides, and she wanted to partake in the beauty of Rome. But as she walks around Holland, she notices the beautiful tulips, and she notices that Holland even has Rembrandts. So it's a very beautiful place to be. And even though she will never get to experience Rome, she will never get to experience that place she always wanted to go, she understands that Holland has potential. So if you keep looking for Rome and Holland, you'll never get to the place where you're intended to be. Sometimes we think we know where we're supposed to go. We have our life all planned out, but God knows best. So even in your pain, know that there is purpose tied to every tear. There's purpose tied to every heartache, and there's purpose tied to every bad feeling. God is in control, and He will take care of you. So allow your pain to propel you towards your future and right into your destiny. So remember I said that there's purpose in your pain. So what's my purpose? Well, because of the situation with my daughter Kirsten, I've realized that the one thing that I was designed to do was to inspire other people. I've been able to encourage other mothers and fathers and other family members with children with special needs, or just people in general that are going through very hard times and feel helpless, hopeless, and they feel like they don't have any point of existing. I've been able to encourage them to know that there's so much more to life. There's so much more to experience. So that thing that's hurting you, that's nagging you, that has you burdened down, utilize it to propel you to something greater. Utilize it to allow you to help others.